Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing another episode review for last night's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. This is Season 2, Episode 11, entitled Pablo and Jessica. Now, we originally thought this was a really weird title for the episode name. We didn't really know, what it sort of led to. We had no idea what this title meant, and we actually get to find out in this episode that it actually has a pretty big significance. Alright, so to get into things, guys, we're going to do this episode review a little bit differently than we have before, alright? We're going to go over the episode generally, alright? And we're just going to be browsing through some things that were key points in the episode. We're not going to be really completely recapping it on AMC.com or anything like that, so you guys won't really have to follow along there anyways, but I will leave a link in the description below if you guys want to read the recap for yourself. We're trying it a little differently, because I just find that these episode reviews and episode predictions, more so the reviews than the predictions. Predictions are pretty much okay the way they are, but my reviews always seem to go a little too long, and that's something that I want to change. All for you guys, because let's be honest, you guys don't have time to sit here and watch a 30-minute video about, my thoughts on the episode, right? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so the episode actually starts off the way I predicted that it would start off, with a flashback of Madison and Strand escaping the bar area. Now, again, we got to learn that Strand and Madison actually used Nick's method of getting out of walkers alive, obviously cutting one up, smearing their blood all over him, and that's exactly what they did. So again, they were behind the bar, this is a flashback scene, and they actually crawled through a vent down below, and actually ended up getting a zombie in there, cutting him up, putting the blood all over their faces, and then actually walking out of that bar alive. Now, I thought this was really neat because we get to see, it was sort of Madison's idea, and Madison obviously learned that from Nick. That's something that she can take from her son as a survival tool. So getting to see her do that was really not only a tribute to Nick, but at the same time, I think it was sort of a realization, that he knows a lot more about this world than she wants him to know, right? I'm talking about Nick here. And that if they ever actually cross paths again, I believe that she's going to treat him differently because of those reasons. Now, I could be totally off base on this one. She could just go back to being same old Madison. But I think this was sort of a realization point. It was a subtle realization point, but this is sort of how I took it. Now, this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead also skipped over the Travis and Chris cliffhanger that we actually ended on last episode, where Chris obviously shot a guy dead in a barn. We don't get to see Chris or Travis this episode, which is totally fine. I'm completely fine with it. To be honest, I wouldn't really care at this point if we seen much more of Chris in the first place. For Travis to make his way back to his group, Madison and all them, would be something that I would be interested in seeing. But it's just, for me, it's not really too much of an interesting story for me to really care about it in the first place. That's just my thought process. I don't really like, Travis and Chris's story off on their own. Now, with that being said, I did sort of like them being together with the group, but Chris ultimately needs to go. That's the only way to put it. He needs to go. Simple as that. Now, right off the bat, I have to apologize for whoever is flying that plane, or whatever it is outside, because it is super loud, alright? I'm trying to do it at times that the engine doesn't roar like a monster, but it's going to be difficult. So, the next part of the episode we actually get to see is where Nick essentially goes Heisenberg, really. I mean, let's be honest. It was a pretty cool scene. I sort of seen shades of Breaking Bad within it. We actually get to see this in a sneak peek as well. Nick obviously talking to Alejandro, saying that he could buy him some time with that gang at the food mart by mixing together some drugs, basically diluting them, and essentially widening their supply of oxy. Alejandro, again, was reluctant at first to actually give Nick that mission, but Nick ultimately took it up. Alejandro approved, and now he has a usefulness to the group, and that really pays off in the long run, because Alejandro actually ends up giving Nick, a actual room to sleep in. He moves him out of the infirmary, gets him in an actual room with a bed, and with just, general appliances, and that's really cool for Nick. He finally feels like he belongs somewhere. He feels like he paid his debt for putting the colonia, or whatever you want to call it, I have trouble saying that word, but for putting his community at risk. The last episode where he stole that cake and almost got his hand chopped off, and yeah, it was bad. But anyway, he definitely paid his dues this time, and he definitely feels like he did. But at the same time, he still thinks this room is a bit too much for him. Ultimately, he takes it, though, which is pretty cool, because just seeing Nick happy like that is a good thing, because we don't really get to see that, you know what I mean? He sort of relies on others, usually, or that's how his mother wants him to be, right? But him earning his own keep is just really impressive to me. And I think he's really proud of himself ultimately as well, because it shows within his character that he's just, he feels like he made it, you know, on his own. And you can definitely see it in his eyes that he's actually proud of himself. Now again, just to remind you guys, this is not all in order. These scenes are skipped throughout the episode. I'm just going over it generally just to let you guys know again, this is not in order. This is not a recap. So make sure you guys go check out a recap if you want to go see, you know, what's in particular order. All right, so the next thing that really comes to mind was, and it's not really a big thing, it's just the fact that it sort of needed to happen in order for another sequence of events to happen, was Madison and Strand essentially talking to Elena and Hector and trying to work out, like, a deal, you know, between their group and the group of wedding guests that got locked inside of that room. So Strand and Madison actually go on, I guess, a peace mission, if you will. Try to go seek out peace with that remaining group because they need the extra hands to obviously clean up the Hotel of the Dead. And that's exactly what they intend on doing. So they actually end up meeting with this group and basically asking them, you know, for their help. We need your help to secure the hotel. If we don't get the dead, you know, out of the hotel as fast as we can, some other person or some other group could come and take it. And they wouldn't be as nice as us, you know, asking for your help. They would just take, they would kill, and they would get what they ultimately want in the end. It's also revealed to Madison and Strand and their whole group that obviously the people at that wedding reception, you know, the remainder of the guests want Elena dead still. Essentially, Madison says that the place could be a new home for all of them, but we need to secure it. We need your help to secure it. If you don't want to help, that's fine. We're going to do it ourselves, and it would sure, you know, be a heck of a lot easier if you helped us. Sort of guilts him into it, I guess, in a way. You know, sort of guilts him into helping, essentially. And originally, I didn't really think that they were going to help. And then they actually ended up passing the hotel keys to Madison. So I thought that might have been the extent of what they were willing to do. But then in the next couple of scenes, we actually get to see them physically helping out as well, which I just thought was amazing. You know what I mean? They're not really bad people. They're just angry that essentially their daughter died and the father died as well within that wedding, you know, and I get why you can be angry. And Madison points out as well that it wasn't, you know, Elena who killed your family. It wasn't Elena who killed your bride. It wasn't Elena who killed your daughter, talking to obviously the husband and the mother of the girl as well. It wasn't Elena who did it. You know, it was the sickness who did it, or it was the sickness that did it, I guess, is what you would say. But nonetheless, it was a sickness, whatever it is, you know, no matter what, she was screwed. You know, she got bitten on the cheek. She got bitten overall. That's it. She's done for. You know, maybe they didn't know that. I have no idea. Or maybe they just wanted to take out the anger on the person who locked them in there, you know, anyway. But who really knows, you know? I guess there's not really any way of telling that whoever gets bit just automatically is screwed until it actually happens, or, you know, until you get to experience it for yourself. I mean, for all they know, it could have been just the sheer fact that they locked him in there with the disease, and the disease might have been, you know, what got her ultimately. But if she got bitten, we all know that she's already screwed no matter where she goes. Anyways, like I said, Oscar, I want to say leader of that wedding reception group. I still don't know what to call it. Maybe just a generalized group for now on. But anyway, he relents basically and gives him the hotel keys. And then, like I said, Madison and Strand start clearing out all of the dead. And this is essentially where we get to see squad goals here, guys. Like, this was incredible. They were doing a great job. Alicia was taking point as well on submissions to clear out the dead, which I thought was just awesome and badass, because I love Alicia Debnam Carey, you know, obviously the actor that plays Alicia. I love her on the 100, and there's like a huge survival aspect to that character as well. And to see that come out in Fear the Walking Dead is just incredible. I love it. I can't wait to see more of it. she's just sort of starting to become a survivor and, taking the action of stabbing some zombies and actually defending herself rather than relying on somebody else. She's just starting to get that out into her actual character. And I can't wait to see more of that. I think it's going to be great. She does a great job. She really does. We get to see Alicia sort of in a leader capacity as well, or a leader of part of the group. She doesn't want to leave any rooms that are locked with zombies in it, because they'll essentially have to start all over, because they'll just have to go through every room and, see which ones they cleared, see which ones they didn't clear. So they need to do a clean sweep. That's what she explains. So they go room by room, killing zombies, loading them onto luggage carts, and delivering them to a pyre on the beach. So essentially they put together like a bonfire, I guess. Sort of a dark bonfire. One where you burn bodies. It does not look pretty, let me say that. It looked like some sort of hay, or I don't want to say hay, but like straw from like maybe like a shop, where they sell liquor and stuff like that on beaches sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. They took like the roof off of that and used that as essentially, fire starter. And again, several of the other nameless guests that we don't really know, anything about them. They're just sort of there. Partnered up with that wedding reception group. They sort of decided on their own, to pitch in and help them with burning the bodies, clearing the dead, everything like that. And again, we get to see the group really working together here, which again, I thought was awesome. I thought it was amazing. They're two separate groups, two strange groups. They don't know each other, but the fact that they're willing to work with each other, that easily to take out the dead for one common goal, I thought was really cool. And of course, the group on the inside, the wedding reception group, they don't really know what's outside of those walls. They don't know that they could just walk out of that hotel, walk into something safer, and just be fine. They have no idea that they wouldn't be able to do that, because there's no place out there that has what that hotel has. Again, Madison explained it. There's water, there's food here to last for months. It's a great place to stay. It's a great place to hold out. And it's a great place to fortify. Now, Alicia here has one brilliant idea. Again, survival skills and leadership skills in Alicia here just shining through. I thought it was great. She essentially goes into the water, wades into the water after talking to her mother, after burning some of the bodies. And she notices that the sand, obviously the riptides, I guess, if you want to call it that, in the ocean are deep enough that the walkers would essentially get trapped. So here comes another plan to clear out the dead, because it's just essentially going to take forever to go through that entire hotel, clean every single room out of walkers by killing them all, dragging their bodies on those carts down to the shore and burning them. You know what I mean? Way too long. They're not going to get it done in time. It's going to take weeks upon weeks, and they got to get it done really, really soon. Somebody could come by at any moment and take what they want and, take that whole facility from them if they wanted to. Now, again, let me remind you, this is in no particular order whatsoever, so do not get it confused, all right? But back with Nick real quickly, just wanted to talk about it. He's essentially about to make this delivery to the gang at that food mart, right? He wants to make a delivery of Oxy, obviously somewhat fake Oxy, split up and dilute it, if you will, to get some more supplies. So as he's about to do that, he runs into a game of soccer being played, so he joins in there. And actually, this guy named Francisco runs in, talks to Alejandro, and announces that Pablo is dead. So that's one of the names in this title for Fear the Walking Dead. So Pablo is dead. Now, who the heck's Jessica? As for Pablo, we get to find out he was Luciana's brother. Besides this being sprung on her, she actually decides to still accompany Nick to the errand that he has to run, which was, again, deliver the Oxy to the group at the food mart in order to get some more supplies. On this errand, she admits that she doesn't know what to do without Pablo, and Nick is very comforting in this moment by hugging her and, understanding her pain, I guess, because Nick has lost people too, right? Nick has lost people too. He's been through some stuff. He's been through the gutter a few times, and he first assumes that it might have been her boyfriend, and he says that I'm sorry, but he really feels guilt for her when he finds out that it's her brother, because that's her family, right? And family is the most important thing. And to lose someone like that would be horrible. Alright, so the new plan to lead the walkers out of the hotel is to essentially lead them all out at once, floor by floor, lead them all out at once onto the actual pier that the hotel is connected to. And this is exactly what they do. They split it up into different groups, they all lead walkers to one general location, and then out onto the pier. Very smart idea on this part. One way to get walkers out all in once. It would be a dumb plan, if you didn't have a way to kill them or to trap them or whatever you're planning on doing, because they could obviously just horde up and kill you, right? So if you're not planning on trapping them or mass killing them, you did a stupid move, right? But they have a brilliant plan that they came up with. So Madison leads them out onto the pier, all right? And again, we get to see this part in the promo, her jumping off the pier. That's a little hint. All right, so basically they're walking through the halls into one main room, and then that funnels out into the pier, or onto the pier, I guess. Once they get the zombies onto the pier, Madison leads them down the dock while the rest of the group scrambles for a lifeguard dinghy. All right, so you might be seeing where this is going. So Alicia and Hector take the dinghy out, and when Madison gets to the end of the pier, with all the walkers still following her, and the doors, of course, to the hotel closed behind all the walkers, so now the walkers, no matter what, are just trapped onto the pier, she jumps into the ocean, okay? She jumps into the ocean, Alicia and Hector scoop her up in the boat, while the zombies basically are jumping off of the pier into the ocean, and it basically, the current carries them out to sea. And what doesn't carry them out to sea, you guys will notice, what Alicia said before with the riptides, they will either get carried out to sea or they will get stuck in the sand up close. So if they get stuck in the sand, very easy to take them out. It's not too difficult. You could just go up, stab them one by one. They wouldn't really be able to move or do anything. And then, again, the rest of them, the majority of them would be essentially let out into sea. They'd be carried off by the current or the riptide. All right, so that night, the hotel group sits down for a fancy dinner. Way too much food supplies in my personal opinion. I think they could have rationed a little bit, but I guess it was a celebration, so nonetheless. Oscar and his mother-in-law are noticeably absent. Victor knows where to find Oscar. So Strand actually goes up to the honeymoon suite, and it turns out he has been keeping his zombie wife, the girl who got her face ripped off by her dad, in the suite, in the honeymoon suite. And it's just, he can't let go. There's a very emotional talk between Strand and Oscar as well, comparing Strand's previous relationship, with, oh crap, I don't remember his name, Tom? I want to say Tom. Goodness, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while, guys. But anyway, he compares that previous relationship with Oscar's relationship with his wife, whose name is Jessica. So we know who Pablo is. Pablo's dead. That's obviously Luciana's brother. And now we know who Jessica is, Oscar's wife. She's dead as well. And essentially it turns into a conversation between Victor and Oscar, essentially saying, you have to learn to let go no matter what. Let me help you. There's nothing that you could have done to save her. You have to let go. For her sake and for yours, you have to let go. He's been through this before, right? He's had to deal with this type of a loss before. Eventually, he convinces Oscar to hand over the room key, and Strand walks in and presumably kills the zombie Jessica, or the wife, the bride. Anyway, Jessica is dead as heck. Even if she didn't get killed by Strand, she's still dead. So, nonetheless, that part of the episode is over, and now we lead on to the final part of the episode here. Again, where we get to see, Nick in his room that was obviously gifted to him by Alejandro, for delivering the Oxy and buying them some more time. Alejandro basically says that you've earned it. That night, Luciana visits Nick in his room, finding him basically reading a Spanish-English dictionary. So Nick is obviously trying to learn some Spanish so that he can talk to them a little better than he obviously can now, which is basically slim to none. He doesn't really know too much about Spanish or anything like that. And they got into a discussion about his past in school and stuff like that. It was really interesting because we get to see, a little bit more about Nick that we might not have known, before. And he points out that he's got to learn the language at some point in order to communicate with anybody other than Alejandro. Luciana can't sleep. They talk about their families. At some point, Luciana does fall asleep for a bit, and she actually wakes up and is about to leave You know, she wakes suddenly, is about to leave. While she sleeps on his bed, Nick is reading on the floor, basically insisting, you know, just go back to bed. I'm totally fine down here. I'm just studying. Do your thing. You know, go back to bed. And just being a gentleman, if you will. I thought it was really cool of Nick because he's always sort of been like that. You know, no matter who it was, you know, he'd do it for anybody. She insists that she has to leave so people don't talk. But before she goes, Nick asks if she is testing him, like Alejandro said that she was. Her response to that was to walk over to him and kiss him. And then after that happens, they presumably go to bed together. And that's where the scene ends, guys. And that was the episode as well. So, guys, that is all for Season 2, Episode 11, Pablo and Jessica. Again, this was sort of a more brief review. It wasn't really a full recap or anything like that, but I just wanted to try something a little differently. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. It might still turn out to be somewhat long, but I do have to go into some detail here to get my point across. And overall, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. The best one that they've had in a, you know, I like the past few as well, don't get me wrong, but I guess this would be the strongest one that they've had in a long time. All right? And again, I thought it was great. Season 2, Episode 11, Pablo and Jessica. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's video, feel free to hit it up with a like, share it with friends. Tell me in the comment section below what else you guys want to see from me. If you like gaming content, make sure you check out my other content on my channel as well. I put tons of work and effort into it, and for you guys to check it out, that'll be absolutely amazing. If you guys only watch my Fear the Walking Dead episode reviews and predictions, and my predictions and reviews for The Walking Dead as well, I will see you guys this Thursday on my episode prediction video for this week's up-and-coming episode of Fear the Walking Dead, which would be Season 2, Episode 12, entitled Pillar of Salt. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Again, another weird title. We don't really know where that's coming from, but I'm pretty excited to get into it. So go ahead and smash this video up with a like if you guys did enjoy it, as well as a comment and a subscription would also help my channel out tremendously. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Sunday Lazy Vlog. Alright, well today I don't really have a lot to talk about as usual for Sunday Lazy Vlog, and I do apologize for that. But really, I've been just super busy all week, guys, and you guys might hear the fans going on in the background. They can't go off. I apologize for that, but it is super freaking hot out, guys.